Hey folks, the Atheist Prepper here. Thanks for coming back. So I have a question I want to present to any experienced preppers out there, but especially to ones who live in populated areas, who are more likely to have thought about the issues I'm going to be discussing, and see if anybody else has had any good ideas, any insight in this. Now, I've called the video a dilemma about bug-out bags, but it's actually not directly about bug-out bags, and I'll explain. Like, I think any other prepper, I recognize that there are multiple types of situations, multiple severities of situations in which you might find yourself bugging out. And depending on the situation itself and how serious you think the threat of interpersonal violence is, it's going to change the way you choose to bug out. So, for instance, I have a bug out bicycle rack option, in which I could carry far more, and carry it far more quickly than I could in a backpack type of situation, and even can carry a backpack in the bicycle rack in case I have to get off and travel on foot. I also have like a smaller, just like a student's type of backpack with equipment, and I've watched some videos and I've read websites, etc., on good bug-out bag ideas. But here's the problem. Like I said in my introductory video, I live in Florida. I live in a highly populated state in which essentially there is no place within the state that you are safe if mob interpersonal violence becomes an issue. Getting out of Florida would be necessary. And if you've ever been to Florida, especially in rural areas in Florida, in backcountry areas, you know that travel through uncleared space is essentially impossible. Brambles and undergrowth and kudzu, and in every little pond there's an alligator. It is difficult to travel without being on roads or going across farmland or, some kind of open area where other people will be using. So, in a lot of circumstances, imagining if there is, a mass coronal ejection, an EMP, and my wife and I have to leave and get out of Florida, I'm going to be concerned about having even a backpack. I know that if there are millions of desperate people wandering the countryside, many of whom are willing to commit acts of violence, and I have a backpack, or my wife has a backpack, it's going to attract attention. They don't know what's in your backpack. If they're starving, they don't know if maybe you have a sandwich in your backpack, or a candy bar, or granola bar, or whatever. So I'm concerned about attracting that attention by carrying a bug-out bag. Even a small, fairly inconspicuous one, I know if I'm bugging out, if we're bugging out, we're going to be encountering people. And I don't want those people to be too interested in finding out what I have in my backpack. So I'm kind of interested in the idea of concealment of resources. Some things are obvious, like you can carry a multi-tool in your pocket, but, especially because it is Florida, it is hot most of the time. So, it's not like I can wear a big jacket if it's June when I'm bugging out and I'm wearing a big jacket with a bunch of stuff concealed under it. That's going to attract attention too. So I'm curious if anybody has thought about, ways of concealing bug-out resources on their body. Obviously, you can't have as much as you would have in a bag, and certainly not as much as in a bike rack. Though just speaking of bags, I've seen some guys making YouTube videos where they have massive amounts of stuff in their bags. I can't even imagine trying to travel that way. It would be so slow. But So if I were walking, I would want to be quick. I would want to be able to be agile. So my bag is small, and I would have less equipment in that. But still, I can't figure out how we would carry enough to really feel we had enough to make living work in a situation like that without having a bag. But then I'm concerned about having the bag because, if you have everything you need in the bag and somebody steals it from you, then you don't have the bag anymore. And if you get into a fight over it and you get killed, then you don't have your life anymore. So, just a question. If anybody else has thought about the situation of not wanting to be seen by other people with a big bag on your back with a bunch of stuff in it, and what your ideas for dealing with that are. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for any ideas you present, whatever thought you've put into this, and I hope to hear from you. And I hope you will also, if you haven't already, subscribe and like and share and come back and watch more videos.